forgot which one this is actually plugged into.
Wait, it just started doing stuff on the speaker 4 array.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Uh,
Hello. Oh.
What?
I didn't need to transition, but it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, now it just shows
Sound. Now it's
same
working.
things on the same
Sounds on
time.
now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll leave this here.
Great.
I'll leave you to it.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hi, everybody. This is Charles. It is a cute sweater. We wanted the sound off so y'all could enjoy the sweater.
No.
Sorry.
So many. I'm pushing Corky away. There's just.
Do you want
I'm
me to?
having a moment where everything just feels too busy.
Okay.
And.
Do you want me to remove the blankets?
No, it's okay.
Okay. All right.
He looks. I can't tell if he looks upset about it or not. It looks like
I think
just
he's
like,
working
well,
it out.
here's my life.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to the live stream. I'm glad you can hear me because, of course, as soon as I asked, I was like, oh, we haven't had issues with that lately, and then we did.
Hopefully this is quick to fix.
Happily, this was not a big issue, or it didn't happen randomly. An hour into the stream or something.
Holler things happen randomly an hour into the stream.
Ah.
Great.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
But what we're gonna do today, and welcome everybody. Also, thank you. Is we're gonna be unboxing some Bondage stuff that I got, and we are also going to be talking about some big announcements for the channel and just like life update stuff. So we are definitely going to be doing Q&A type things in this video, so don't worry about that. That is still going to be a thing that happens. But I also want to show you guys some things because I meant to do an unboxing last week and that ended up not happening, so I want to make sure I do it this week. But yeah, let's go ahead and unbox some things, I guess. So I'm actually going to be doing a full review of this, but I got in the mail not this morning, I guess, but earlier today. So I thought, oh, well, I'm going to be doing a live stream later, so why don't I do like a first impressions, and then probably in about like a week or two when I have time to like try everything out, I'll do an actual like review video of what I think of the products when I've had a chance to like try them on. Unfortunately for this video, simply because of how YouTube is / the way that YouTube is kind of trending in general, I'm not going to be actually like showing you guys any of this bondage gear on, partly because I don't actually know entirely what is in all of this. Because I'm working with a company and I kind of described what I wanted, and then I wanted to do like sort of a Valentine's Day set for bondage gear. I think that's a really great bondage gift, and it's good for newer people or just in general. Like I think it's a really nice sentiment to get like a full matching set of bondage gear. So I don't actually know what's in all of this yet. So we're gonna have a little bit of an experience here. But the brand is, and I don't know how to pronounce this, and I can't decide if it's supposed to be German or not. So I don't really know. But it's Lieb. I always pronounce it in my head as Liebseal, but it's Liebesele. And there's actually a link to the Etsy store where this is from down in the description box if you guys want to check them out. I don't think they actually have this specific set up on their website yet, but hopefully that'll be changing soon. But that's the brand where it's from, and this is a Japanese-based company, which is really interesting to me because you don't really find a lot of like Japanese type items that are available in the West, like made in Japan, that you can actually buy here in America. So I'm kind of interested to see maybe how it's different or similar. And there are some like fetish things that you can get that are from Japan, particularly if it involves like costume or role play or that sort of thing. But like general like fetish gear, maybe besides like some of the jute rope, which is actually normally like imported and actually is like sold in America by American companies that import from Japan. So yeah, sort of thing we're gonna be doing. Da, da, da. So actually, I already started unboxing this a little bit earlier, just to see if I actually wanted to do an unboxing for this. But this is the first thing that I pulled out, which is this blindfold. It's not one of those like molded blindfolds, which are what I really like because I find them more comfortable on the eyes, and I find they also actually eliminate light a lot better. But this is like sort of a padded sort of thick. It's not really like a, it's sort of shiny like a vinyl, but it doesn't have the same texture as like the hard vinyl that I've had from other Bondage sets. And it also has rose gold. I don't know if you guys can miss this, so I'm gonna try and show it. But it's rose gold and then like this red with black stitching. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the rose gold with the red yet. It feels like it's almost like it's not like it's like the red is too cool tone to kind of go with the rose gold, I think, but like that's just me. I'm also really not a big rose gold person in general. Like I'm very much about like the silver and those sorts of tones more so than the really like warm metals like this. But I know rose gold is really trendy right now. I know a lot of people have probably been wanting like, oh, I love a collar set and I wish I could find it in rose gold, which is like, there you go, there it is. So the next thing that I got is, it looks like this is either a wrist cuff. I'm assuming it's a wrist cuff because it's kind of on the smaller side. It's sort of one of those like decorative wrist cuffs, and it has sort of this like Dorman's post sort of thing. I'm not sure what this is technically called on the front. So this is not necessarily like maybe heavy duty bondage gear, but it's more like, I don't know, something maybe for casual play or for light bondage. And the reason for that is simply because this is really not a lot of area to like hook something onto. Like you could definitely get a chain on this, but you're not going to be able to like necessarily tie rope through it or put a big lock on it. But again, when I have a chance to test this out, actually, I'll let you guys know how it holds up. But the actual leather itself is pretty thick, and it looks like it's double-sided also. So it feels like it's sturdy, but really the proof is in the pudding. And also it looks like on the back side, the metal from the post doesn't come out, so the metal is actually between the stitching on the two layers of this. And then that must be the other one, is this little wrist cuff part 2 here. So I'm going to just put that with the other one. And, oh, okay. I was definitely not expecting this, but there's like, and it's definitely, it smells like leather. So I'm going to assume it is actually real leather, but this is like a little tiny mini flogger. I think this is probably going to be too stingy for what I would normally like to use, simply because it is like really small. And basically with floggers, stingy, and this is sort of like a general rule of thumb for most toys, but like the smaller and thinner it is, the more stingy it's going to be. And Thuddy is usually like heavier and denser and is like thicker straps for the, or like falls is the technical term, but like the falls on the flogger are usually a bit thicker. So this is probably going to be kind of, yeah, yeah, that's really, really stingy. It sort of feels like when I've tried bootlace floggers before, that's what it feels like. Anything about like these little ones like this, I'm actually kind of getting some like, is that from my sweater? Is that from this? I'm getting like some like fuzzies on it, which is interesting. But I guess there's like the tan side and then like the back side of it. So there's probably some fuzzies coming off from that. But we'll test this out a little bit more. But I know that this is not my general preference for floggers. I think I saw that on one of the comments somebody asked what thudding meant for floggers, and the short answer to that is thuddy is more like a deep tissue sort of sensation. Like it goes more into the muscle layers in terms of where you're feeling the sensation, whereas stingy tends to be more superficial. In terms of floggers and kind of figuring out what's going to make a thuddy flogger versus a stingy flogger and how to figure out what those sensations feel like, or some things you can use to test out one or the other, I have a couple of videos about that. One is going to be a video I did about different types of pain and kink, I think is the title. So that's one video you can check out if you haven't seen that before. And then on my Patreon, I have a video where I've talked about different types of floggers. I have like a flogging 101 video on Patreon, and it goes over different types of flogger materials. And I'm actually planning on updating that one because I own a lot more floggers now from when I made that one, and I've had more experience shopping for them and like picking them out and sort of kind of making decisions in like a store where I'm trying to decide between two floggers. So I'm going to be updating that one with some more like detailed information now that I've tried like so many more floggers than what I originally had in that video, but there is like some additional information that's flogger specific that is available on that from a couple months ago, I think. And then this, okay, so this is the collar, which is sort of the same deal as the wrist cuffs. They kind of match. They have the same like post here, and then they also have the rivets, which are sort of oh, okay. So these actually it actually buckles closed, so it actually has like really thick snaps on the back, which are a little bit difficult to snap because they're like brand new, which is not necessarily my favorite closure for a collar, because if you're really like tugging on this, I guess there is a possibility that it could snap off easily. But these seem like they're really thick. I don't know if people, when I actually do the proper review of this, when I've had a chance to test it out, like I'll go into more detail because I can zoom in farther than I can just when live streaming. But if you like snap closures because they're just easier to take on and off, this could be fine. It's generally not my preference. And I actually have a pretty small neck size, so I find that a lot of sort of standard made collars don't really fit me that well. So I usually, if I'm getting a collar, I will try to get something custom sized, or if they have like size options, like a small, medium, large, that also helps a lot too. So we'll see. But the interesting thing is on the wrist cuffs, they did have like this nice like big a big buckle. And I mean, I've never used a collar like this before. Like I think I have one other one that's like this, but like usually like when I'm playing and I have a collar on, the point is not to just do this over and over again. Like if I'm doing leash training play, I'm not doing it to the point where like this is getting tugged over and over and over again, like with really, really strong jerking motions. Because honestly, I would be worried about the safety of your neck if you were pulling it hard enough to actually break something like this. Like at some point, it becomes okay. Stop worrying about the safety of the collar you're wearing and start worrying about your vertebra. Like there's a point where there's only so much between that force and your neck, and the collar is only going to mitigate that so much, particularly when you're yanking. And you're yanking from the back. First of all, like don't do that because this cannot necessarily take a ton of pounds of pressure. Uh, but yeah, anyways, that's sort of an aside. But yeah, I don't, not necessarily a big fan of the snaps, but it's weird that they decided to use that because they clearly had like other buckles they could have used in this color. So I don't know why they made that design decision. I also don't know. I'm assuming that these have nickel in them, simply because if they're not specifically nickel free, they do. And from what I understand about rose gold coloring, that usually means that it's just like something that's been basically colored over. Oh, and there's also a little chain that came for connecting the cuffs together. So it's just like these little rose gold cuffs. But the metal itself actually feels relatively sturdy. There's not like any. The thing that really bothers me about these sometimes is they'll have like a really, really small like connecting clip between these lobster claws and like the actual chain. But these actually seem relatively sturdy, so we'll see how those work out. The thing I'm kind of mostly worried about is like if this is like a coated thing, that the color coding is going to come off easily. All right, so let's see what we've got in here. Oh, okay, these are interesting. I like these. Okay, so these are. It actually is like way more in this set than I thought it was going to be, and I have a whole other bag of this also. So maybe this is a different set. Maybe it's two things. I don't know. That's like a new. I hadn't expected that. So here is a nipple clamp chain. Actually, oh, okay, and there's a lobster clasp on this too. Okay, so this is is rose gold colored nipple clamps, and they're sort of I my brain is not currently working. I can't think of the specific names of these types of clamps. Basically, what they do is the intensity is sort of adjustable with this little thing right here, and they basically just like clip on. But I have nipple piercings, and I find that for me personally, with my piercings, I don't find additional nipple related play to super be comfortable. But I like these because they have like a nice like coating on them, which I think will make them more comfortable to wear. But like just because these are made for nipple use doesn't mean you have to use them on your nipples specifically. Like anywhere you have skin, like I don't know if I put it right here, right? Like you can clip it on, you know. And I don't really have enough skin there to like do it properly. So maybe if I like, I don't want to do it on top of the hair because that's just like asking for trouble. But maybe if I do it here, okay. So like if I do it on here on my arm, right? Like you guys can see how it clips on. But I don't really like my lower arm is not the ideal place to do this with, so it's gonna snap off. But I'll try it on maybe some other places on the body and see how it works. The thing that I find interesting about this is it has this additional little lobster clasp here, so you could attach it to different things. You could attach it to the collar. You could attach it to the cuffs. This might actually be interesting for like a predicament bondage type of use situation, maybe where you're like having this maybe like to a post and you're having to like sort of balance between the pressure of the nipple clamps that this is attached to and like something else. So that could be interesting. And I was definitely not expecting those. So I think that is it for this bag. So let us see. Just put everything back in here so I don't get stuff mixed up. I'm just gonna put this back. I also find it interesting that they didn't include, at least so far, ankle cuffs with this, and they just did wrist cuffs. But I guess of the bondage objects, I feel like maybe ankle cuffs are the most optional, let's say. I was actually not suggesting using them on the labia. Like that was actually not on my mind at all when you said that. What I was actually thinking of is I was like maybe around like the hip area, like doing something up here maybe, or like doing it on the breast tissue, but not doing it on the nipples. The labia were not part of that, but now that you've said it, maybe I will try it in the outer labia just so I have that experience. Because I don't currently have something where I can kind of use an area that's sort of like I would, you know, be okay being fluid bonded to that object, let's say. But yeah, clamps are something you can use in many places on the body. So let's see what's in here. Okay, so this looks like it's more stuff. I'm confused. Okay, so this looks like it's sort of the same color palette. I don't know if these are, I guess we'll find out more when I look more through this, but these are like, rather than sort of the little, like the thinner ones, this is more of like a heavy duty type of cuff. It actually has two layers, so actually this is the part that closes around and then the strap goes on top of it, which can be kind of fiddly to put together, especially if you're putting it on yourself. Um, but okay, so it looks like there may be things that are maybe a bit more geared towards the heavy bondage side of things. So let's see what else we've got in here. Come on, I don't want everything all at once. That spoils it. Okay, so I think, is this a bondage belt? This, I think, is, I'm assuming it's not a collar, because if this is a collar, it's very big, but it's not, okay, maybe it is a collar. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm gonna check and see what else is in here. But this seems very, for me, like that's gonna be a lot of extra going on, a lot of extra. But I don't want to try it on more than that because YouTube. But maybe this is a collar. I don't know why I thought it would be a bondage ball at first. Okay, that makes sense. All right, and this I guess we're just gonna take everything out, I guess, right now because it's all wanting to fall at the same time. This is the other cuff. It looks like. Okay, all right. The other thing for me is again, I'm sort of smaller framed, and I'm hoping maybe because this is a Japanese brand, maybe the sizing will be a little bit smaller, so I can actually wear it. But oftentimes with sort of the purpose made just one size fits all bondage gear, I end up wearing the wrist cuffs on my ankles. So maybe I can use it for that, even if maybe they don't size wise. Because as far as I can tell, they don't have any kind of sizing option. Okay, it looks like this is a second blindfold. It has the same design as far as I can tell. So I guess maybe this is supposed to be like two different set versions. Like there's sort of the lighter, like the play kit sort of thing, and this is more like basically two different styles of play kit maybe that you could go with. Okay, so this is another blindfold. And then okay, and this is a paddle. All right, so this is yeah, okay, so this is a paddle. And it's going to be another like stingy toy. So Yep, that's stingy. That's stingy right there, and especially because I put a freaking clamp over that earlier like a genius. So this is definitely another stingy toy. This is, it feels like faux leather. I'm assuming all of this is faux leather. I need to double check on the website. But I think that most of this is probably going to be faux or at least partially faux leather. So this is a paddle. This is one of those like swishy leather ones. Definitely on the stingier side. I would say this is probably good for like the thighs or like maybe one butt cheek, but I don't think you're gonna be able to get both at the same time with this, but we'll see. But actually, like for a leather paddle, like I think this seems just like pretty nice on just like first inspection. It doesn't seem like one of those cheapo like buy it at Lovers or like Castle Mega Store type of paddles. This actually seems like it's a nicer quality paddle. All right, so what is this? I'm gonna guess it's more nipple clamps. Let's see what's inside. Maybe I guessed wrong. I don't know. And they do have a website, so I have a link to the store down in the description box. I don't think they have these specific ones available yet, but I do have a link to it. Okay, so these are a slightly different style of connectors. So rather than the lobster class, they're like these styles. So they're a little bit heavier duty than the ones from the other set rather than the lobster class. They're like these little type of doodads, but very similar, just a little bit on the heavier side. And I really don't know how much of a difference it makes, functionally. Okay, and then the last thing in here is, yes, this is the last thing in here. This is a leash for the collar, and let me see if I can tell what style. I think this one also has, I hate to just like be ripping off all of the packaging like nobody says. Okay, so this has the same type of connector on it as this does. So that is what we got so far. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back, and then I can evaluate it later. Collar for bodybuilder. I mean, maybe. I mean, again, that's sort of the problem with the one size fits all collars is like they're made for one size fits all, so it's going to be relatively large. And like I like these like thicker, taller collars. Like I do enjoy those, but at the same time, they are definitely not for, I would even dare to say, most body types. So it's sort of like a little hit and a miss because you don't pay as much as you do, obviously, as you would if you got something that was custom sized. So yeah. That's what we got. Boom. All right, I'm gonna sit back here with my laptop and just see how things are going. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. If you have any specific questions that you would like to know about this gear, like in terms of like how, like any like specific concerns you would have or like questions you want to have answered in a review, please let me know, because then I can make sure to keep that in mind when I'm trying all of this stuff out later, and I can include it when I actually make a full video going over all of this. But I am, see how things are doing. Oh, clip on is a tongue ring? Like, oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that's another having it on a tongue ring. Okay, I'm gonna definitely. That's one of those ideas that I know that I've had before, but it was not currently in my mind. So yes, that is a good point. The leash seemed a bit short. Well, I didn't take it fully all the way out of its casing, so that is probably why it seems short, because it was wrapped up a couple times. But when I actually do like fully unbox everything, like in terms of getting it ready to actually play with, I want to keep it like safe and organized for right now. But when I actually do, like, that will be something I keep into effect. But leashes come in a lot of different sizes, so it really depends on how you want to use the leash. Like, some people, they like really, really short leashes because they basically want to be able to directly maneuver the bottom or the submissive, whoever's wearing it. Or they like a really, really long leash because they want it to be like an actual, like a pet leash. And some people like kind of having a medium one so they can use it during intimate activities, let's say. My biggest question is quality alongside how long it will last. I've had lovely cuffs that lasted 5 minutes, but stiff ones I hate, but they last. Yeah, something I'll try to consider. Like it's difficult because I want to try and time this so that way you guys can potentially look at this for like a Valentine's Day thing and like get the review information up for you to be able to, like, if you're interested in it, make a decision about it. But I'll try and like I'll put it through the ringer as best I can with the time that I have to kind of evaluate them, like wearing them, during the day, wearing them to bed, like kind of doing the normal things that I would do with um, with stuff. But yeah. And hello, Shaylee. Welcome to the chat. Sorry, I'm also a little bit. I normally try to read things in the order they come in, because that's just sort of the easiest way to handle like questions and making sure that everybody gets an equal opportunity to have their voice heard. But thank you and welcome to Shaylee, and welcome to the other new people who joined us today. Hopefully you found this so far interesting. So if you guys want to ask other questions, feel free. This is not necessarily specifically about the bondage gear itself, so I don't want to think you just have to stick to that one particular topic. What material is the set made of again? That was what I was about to try and look up, because I wanted to. They did not specifically tell me what it was when I ordered it, because I got this like directly from the company, they were like, "Do you want to work together again?" And I was like, "Sure, let's do that." But that was not part of the information they included. So let me see if I can find that out. Might be PU leather, which is like basically plastic fake leather. That's what it probably is. I feel like, but let's go ahead. I'm on Etsy and I'm double checking right now. All right. See if I can find the closest thing to what this is. They have like a hog tie set, which is not what I got, but it's the same stitching and everything else. So let's see. Okay, so this is saying that it's cow leather, but I don't know if that is exactly the exact same thing that I got. But it does look like it's saying it's cow leather. I'm going to message them directly and just double check specifically that this set is cow leather, if it's PU leather, or what it is. But that's a really common material, but I understand that for a lot of people it would definitely be important to know whether or not it's real leather or faux leather. So I will try my best to get a 100% definitive answer on that when I can. Because I don't see, like I said, I see things that are like this, but these exact sets I don't currently see on their website. Ba, 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 ba. I wonder if you had any advice on choosing the right rope material, like diameters. I have Patreon videos about that. And also, do you have any suggestions for purchasing rod hemp? I do not. If you're interested in rope production, if you're interested in that, like, that is way outside of my skill set to be able to answer questions about. You are going to be way better off asking people on FetLife in the rope bondage makers group than you're asking me on spontaneously on a live stream, unfortunately. Um, but in terms of if you want to know how to choose the right rope length, like, that really depends on what you're doing the bondage for and what your goals are. But I do have Patreon videos where I talk about this and like go over just like bondage basics thing. How do you go about finding dungeons? Oh, there's actually, I forgot to mention this, so I should probably do this now. Unfortunately, I don't know if Tumblr links are currently working because Tumblr kind of got rid of not safe for work content. So I am sorry if I'm not able to relay you to the normal resources I would. I'm trying to get everything uploaded to a WordPress, but it is absolutely giving me heck right now. But I have a 101 playlist where I have, I think, 3 or 4 videos that all touch on that subject. I have one on how to use FetLife. I have one on what to expect for your first dungeon. I have one on my personal story time of my first time going to a dungeon. And then I also have one on BDSM etiquette. And I also have one on going to munches and other BDSM events. And all of those videos all touch on finding events, finding places to go. And the short answer is go to FetLife, type in where you live, and search for events. That is the way that 98% of people who are in America, at least, find BDSM things to go to when they're not otherwise connected in the community. That is where you are going to find things. There's no magic spell. There's no secret Google tip I can give you. FetLife, your location. That's really all there is to it. It's not any more simple. It's not any more complicated than that. But the next thing that I want to get into, because it's another thing where I want to talk about this last week, but I didn't get to, which is totally fine because people had good questions and I'm happy to do that. But I have some announcements to make about things that are happening with this channel, things that are happening with my life. All good things, all good things. But I want to make sure that people are kind of aware of what the the plan is for the future, basically, and kind of what's going on. Um, and I'm also I'll talk about this here mostly because I want to get some feedback about some ideas that I have, and then when everything is finalized, I want to make like a video and kind of be like, big announcement video. Here's like an update with like all the things that are happening. So, uh, um, I like how somebody in the comments like doubt it, like, so I'm moving in with Mr. Tex. For you guys who don't know, I currently live far away and I drive here on the weekends. And that is why I do the live streams on Friday nights because I literally drive here, I get ready for the live stream in about 30 minutes, and then we live stream. And that's kind of what I do on Friday nights. But I'm moving in with Mr. Tex. So I'm quitting my vanilla job. I am going to be doing YouTube full time. I'm going to be living with Mr. Tex and doing YouTube and doing Patreon stuff. And it's just a lot going on. I'm selling slash getting rid of like most of what I own. Because I don't need all of the furniture and things that I've had. So thank you guys so much, by the way, for all of the love. It was hard to know how to bring this up because I do want to tell you guys some like ideas that I have about um, what is potentially going to be changing now that I'm doing YouTube full time or I'm going to be doing it. So um, I am going to be moved in and I'm going to be here and I'm going to start doing YouTube full time the first weekend of February, which I think is literally the 1st to the 3rd or something convenient like that. So that's when everything's going to be happening. Currently, my life is a giant mess because I live in a studio right now. So I live by myself and I'm doing all of the things with the insurance and the healthcare and quitting my job and moving out of my apartment and selling things and taking care, like, getting, doing the utilities on top of doing my day job and doing YouTube and Patreon stuff, which is basically like the reason why I'm quitting my job is because it is an additional full time job on top of the other things that I was already doing. So my life is kind of insane right now. So I'm sorry if I seem a little bit frazzled. It's just because I have so much I'm trying to do on top of my normal life stuff, which was already getting really difficult to manage just with how much time doing YouTube the way that I want to do it takes up. And I don't mean that in a bad way or like in a complaining way, but like when I think most creators who also have similar like upload schedules to mine probably know this, but like when you're doing it at this level and you're trying to maintain that connectivity with you guys, like having the live streams and answering questions and answering comments, like if you're just ignoring all of the interaction stuff and you're not having social media or anything like that, like you could just crank out videos in probably like 10 hours a week and just walk away and not have to worry about it, especially if you have an editor or something or somebody who writes your scripts for you or something. Like that's a whole other thing. But like I really want to maintain this level of interaction. I really want to keep the channel the way that I've been doing it for as long as possible. And so at this point it's kind of like I need to start thinking about my side gig as my gig basically. um Yes. So that's a thing. My life is a giant mess, literally same. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I don't know why I was thinking, oh, once the holidays over, everything's gonna be fine. And then I was like, oh wait, no, we made this decision like early December-ish, so we've been talking about it for a really long time. We've probably been talking about it for like a year at this point, sort of the conditions under which I would like feel comfortable making all of these sort of relationship steps and life steps. And part of my brain is like, why am I doing this? The internet is incredibly unstable and not at all positive for people who talk about sex and alternative relationships. But I'm in my 20s. I am very, very lucky to have a lot of support networking in my life to where if something goes bad, I have things I can fall back on. I have savings. I don't have a lot of debt. Like, I think now is the time in my life to take these kinds of risks and really commit to doing the things that I love rather than just doing what I did because I got a college degree in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say that like university wasn't valuable to me, because if I never went to university, I would not be talking about BDSM. Like, I know that having the university experience and getting my degree and learning those skills, even if maybe, there's not a degree in BDSM. So this is not really a way that I could have studied it as an undergraduate and been like, I want to be a sex educator. Like, it's not really a thing. But having the connections that I did, going to the school that I did, meeting the people while I was there, getting, connected to the local communities through groups that I met at my campus, like, I would not be in the place that I am right now if I didn't have all of that. So, anyways, yes. Some things specifically that I want to talk about in terms of all of this happening. Um, I have some changes that I want to make to content, and before anybody freaks out, I'm just going to outline the things that aren't changing. So I'm still going to be doing 2 videos a week. I have no plans for that to change. I am still going to be doing the Friday night live streams. That's still going to be a thing that happens. So the core of this channel, of what I do, the social media, all of that, those parts aren't changing. What I want to change is going to be the things that I do in addition to that, or the quality changes I want to make because now I have time to do it. Because basically at this point, where I've gotten is like the videos that I want to make, or the videos that I want to redo, if I want to do them to the level of quality that I want at this point, it's going to take more time in editing than I have to do it at a 2 video a week schedule. So what I want to do is I want to get somebody or start learning how to subtitle my videos. I want to do scripts for my videos, which I don't do currently for about 95% of the things that I make. Like, if I do something at this point, it's more of an outline or thoughts. I have probably, in the last year, I think I've done 5 or 6 videos where I've done a really detailed outline. But I don't think I'm going to do scripts of like, here's what I say, and here's what I say, here's what I say. But I do want to have like a kind of a flow chart of the points that I want to hit on, and specific things that I want to reference, and ideas that I want to link together in specific ways. And I think for the type of videos I want to make at this point, which are going into more detailed BDSM 101 videos, remaking old topic areas, going into more specifics about sort of BDSM like 201 level videos, I really think that that will very much benefit what I want to do. And in addition, I also want to do things like edit more. I want to be able to devote more time to editing. I want to have things like, B-roll footage. I want to be able to do things like, I don't know if you're familiar with the editing style of Folding Ideas, but he has a couple videos where he talks about sort of the, art of editing, which have been really informative. And I want to do more to communicate important points and topics with the way that I edit things, and being able to include things like, relevant clips, or like little skit things, like some like things to sort of improve upon just talking in front of a camera. And I think at the end of the day, I will probably always be a YouTuber who sits in front of a camera and talks, because that's what I'm good at. I'm actually not really that great at talking, but I think once I have the writing and the outline there, and I just add a little bit more to the editing when I have more time to practice that and get the skills with it, I think even just those little tiny changes will make a really big difference, and hopefully that will be more conducive to getting the details across in an effective way that hopefully you guys will appreciate. Um, so that is something that I want to work on, and that's something that I want to do specifically for videos. So subtitles, more editing, and then going back to doing more BDSM 101 type videos, doing more sort of infographics and sort of just things to kind of highlight specific areas, and hopefully be it something that you can absorb more out of and learn from more. Um, so Carmen, darling, how much does my Patreon cost? It depends on what you pledge for. You can pledge whatever amount that you want. I have a $1 tier, 5, 10, 20, 25, and $50 tiers, and those all get you different things. Some of them are limited, some of them are not, and I will be touching on Patreon things in a moment. So I guess let's go ahead and use that as a transition point for, okay, that's what's happening specifically with YouTube videos. Now what's happening with Patreon. So I don't make any ad revenue from YouTube. I have never, and I will never make any ad revenue from YouTube. I don't get sponsorship deals. I don't do things where people just give me money. The way that I make money being able to do this, where I can do it full time, is exclusively through Patreon. Patreon is what makes everything on this channel possible. If I did not have Patreon, I would have a shitty camera or no camera. I would probably still be filming on a webcam. I don't even know if I'd be making videos anymore at this point. So Patreon is what allows me to do things like upgrade my microphone and pay for software so I can do more editing techniques, and allows me to make more videos. Because I have a program that renders my videos a lot faster, or helps me be able to pay for better, not, potato internet. So Patreon is what makes everything possible. I don't want anybody to do this and put themselves in financial hardship, obviously, because I am not very far removed from my super poor college student days, and I'm really, 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 like, basically, I can't put it into words, thankful for even the opportunity to have even a glimmer of being able to do this full time, because I never planned on that. When I first started YouTube, it was because people wanted me to review gear I was getting and thought I was good at it, and then they were like, "Can you talk about other things? What do you know about this thing?" And I was like, "I guess I can talk about this because nobody else is." And so I did. And I did not expect that it was ever going to catch on. I thought for the first year I was basically talking to like 30 people. So it's just crazy that, enough of you guys are learning from what I'm able to give. And hopefully if you do enjoy this content, it's enough to where you feel like maybe you want to be able to support me being able to grow on this journey and be able to do more things to be able to make better content for you guys. But on Patreon, um, currently there's a $1 tier, which is just like a thank you thing, like thanks for your support, like any amount matters because it really, really does. The $5 tier, you can either join FetLife or Discord. And Discord, for those of you who don't know, is like a private chat server basically. There's a bunch of different, there's like my Patreon server basically, and then there's different channels you can go into to talk about basically anything you want. You can ask for advice. You can share streams that you're a part of, that you're watching on Twitch. You can talk about anime. You can just talk about general stuff that's going on in your life or scenes that you did. There's a really good community on there of people that watch my content, and I've never had a problem with anybody in my Discord chat. They're all really, really good people. So if you want to be able to connect with other people and have sort of like a safe shared area where you can share thoughts and get to know other people, ask questions about BDSM related stuff, even if it's not to me, Discord is great. Discord is also where I just sort of share my everyday life stuff, like what I'm doing in the day, what I'm planning on for the month coming forward, things that I'm thinking about, questions I have, sharing weird comments or pictures that I find or whatever. That is what Discord is about. The $7 tier, which I temporarily forgot about, you get FetLife and Discord. The $10 tier gets you FetLife, Discord, and exclusive videos. I do exclusive videos just for Patreon for content that I cannot show on YouTube. That is what the Patreon exclusive videos are for. I do at least one a month. I'm currently doing about 2 to 3, and that's sort of how it's been for the last couple of months. I have rope bondage tutorials. I have scene demonstrations. I have pet play videos. I have gear reviews. I have more personal story time type videos. I talk about my collar on Patreon. I talk about the ceremony that we did. I talk about, different sort of intimate products that I can't really go into on YouTube. Obviously, like I have reviews for like this month. I am in the process of uploading a video right now for Patreon that's going to be for this month, where I'm talking about my experience not wearing my collar for a week over the holidays and what that was like and what that experience felt like to me. And then I'm going to be doing another video where I talk about bondage and a chastity belt set that I got. So that's on YouTube. or that's on YouTube. That's not on YouTube. It's on Patreon. So those are the types of videos that you can expect over there. I try to do a wide variety of videos because with Patreon I can do anything that I want. So why not mix it up? So I have scene demonstrations. I have like first impressions of things. Like I do self play on there. So I have self play videos for wax play, and I also have a self play video for electrical play. I also have tutorials and again the story time videos. Um, but yeah, so I am. Sorry, had to temporarily deal with something. Also, just so everybody knows, on this channel, on Patreon, everywhere, my social media, if you want to participate in the chats, if you want to be part of my Patreon, if you want to get in touch over social media, you must be above the legal age of majority, at least where I live, which is 18. So, if you're 15, if you're 14, if you're anything that's not 18 or above, please do not interact with me. You could get yourself in trouble and you could get me in trouble. And if you would like these resources to be available to you when you are of age, I recommend actually respecting adult spaces because this is, though it is on YouTube, this is intended for 18 plus audiences to interact with because I could get in trouble if minors are involved. And you will definitely get in trouble if you join my Patreon and you're underage because that is explicitly 18 plus only. And my Patreon will get deleted if minors are involved because I have it flagged 18 plus sign up only. So you have to be 18 to join Patreon. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. Patreon thing. So I want to do more with Patreon. Definitely like 100% for sure. I want to maintain probably about 3 videos a month for Patreon is kind of what my thinking is right now. I want to rotate between a couple of different things. I want to do a tutorial or a scene demonstration once a month. I want to do a story time or a get ready with me or a like day in the life of a submissive type video once a month. And then I want to do like just some other kind of video once a month. Some things I'm thinking of, more review videos. I also want to do ASMR videos, which I've touched on before in other live streams that we've done, but that's an idea that I'm currently feeling really enthusiastic about, is doing ASMR for BDSM that's not sexual. Specifically, I want to do things. I have a couple of ideas. I like the concept of ASMR, but I have found that at least in terms of what I have found on YouTube, it tends to be more of the soft core porn slash self-insert fantasy type variety, which is nothing inherently wrong with that, but that's not the kind of content that I want to make on Patreon. That's not what I want to do just in general. Like for me, I want to make things that are basically like audio relaxation, audio meditation for submissives, and definitely for dominance as well. Although I'm currently in the process of trying to think of some ideas on how to do that in a way that doesn't come across as like sexual fantasy or could be construed in that way. So I have ideas for what I want to do. Some of the things that I was thinking of is doing like an ASMR like what's in my toy bag type video, you know, where you can do like, I don't know if this is gonna make any noise, but like doing the like, you know, the tapping and like the clinking on the metal and like, you know, like rubbing, you know, my hands through the suede on the flogger and kind of having those things be a sensation. I've also thought about doing things like aftercare ASMR, so that would be kind of role play ish, but I would want to do it in not from the position of the dominant, but sort of like your friend who comes and talks to you after the scene is done and kind of helps like, you know, talk you through like what your feelings are and like kind of just something again like relaxing that you can play that will hopefully be something that's helpful for you or that you find relaxing, you just find like interesting. And I have like other ideas for things that I want to do, but those are the 2 key ones that I'm really that I'm really, really thinking of. The sound of rope being tied. That could also be a thing. The main thing I'm trying to work out right now is how I would do the audio setup, so that way it would just, very much like hypercardioid, basically, where it's like focusing on just that one pinpoint noise and not like the rain or the cars or the ambulances or whatever's going on in the background. So that's going to take some practice. Um, Slave hypnosis is not the same thing as ASMR. Hypnosis, ASMR, two different things. By the way, just want to get that out there. Um, it's very, very different categories. I'm sure people could construe it that way, but they're not intended to be the same thing. Um, oh, one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to do like, that was actually somebody like what Olivia said. I wanted to do like a tea service ASMR, because one of the videos I want to do is I want to do a tea service example scene type video. But I also want to do a little ASMR video where it's like I'm showing you how to prepare the tea and talking to you about the tea. And I actually have a glass teapot, so I feel like it'll make some nice noises. So there will be nice noises in there. Um, have you considered what ASMR triggers you want to do? Um, do you want to be tapping or soft talking? I mean, I'm not really sure yet. I kind of want to play around and kind of see what people like. One of the other ideas that I had is I want to do like little bedtime story ASMR. I'm really into that idea, and I don't know why, because I'm not little, but maybe just part of me just feels like that idea would be really cute, and I want an excuse to wear some cute clothes and dress up and have like kind of a soft background and like doing like a page flipping, like tapping type thing and talking about like the whatever story it is that we're reading. I feel like that would be really fun. And just general like soft talking stuff. I mean, I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to do, and the main thing is I want to at least try doing it and see how it works out, and hopefully, um, not I want to make something like I want to make enough content every month where people who are pledged feel like they're getting something for them. So if you're there for the tutorials, you get that. If you're there for the ASMR, you get that. If you're there for the reviews, you get that. If you're there for the scene examples, you get that. So you feel like you're getting something that's like what you pledged for, rather than feeling like, oh, I don't care about ASMR. You know what I mean? So I don't want that to be the only thing that I do, but it is an idea that people have been interested in. High protocol place settings ASMR. Oh no, that'd be way too stressful for ASMR, at least for me. I'd have to do it and then do a voiceover after I've already finished it. Um, Pop Toys ASMR, I could totally do that also. Um, yes, all the YouTube ones seem to be hella sexual. Yeah, that's part of the reason why I want to do it, because I feel like I'll do it in a way that hopefully won't creep people out or like won't kind of trigger those feelings. So, yes. So maybe you could have an ASMR tier. I mean, the ASMR thing will be videos. So I don't want to. The first, number one, is I don't want to obligate myself to make ASMR videos every single month, because I don't know how many topics I'll have for that stay in a comfort zone where I feel okay. I feel like I have probably 4 or 5 solid ideas to work with, but I don't necessarily know if having a tier just for that will be as interesting. And I also would know how to keep it separate. So basically, to go back to talking about how the tiers work, is the $10 tier gets you access to FetLife and Discord, and also gets you access to the monthly videos. But that also gets you access to all of the past videos, which, if I'm thinking about this correctly, I believe I currently have about 30 or so videos that are Patreon only, of all sorts of different types. And so there's a bunch of a back catalog. And that all goes through one specific website, so I don't know how I would be able to keep the tiers separate if I was trying to keep like ASMR somewhere separate from that. So that gets you access to the whole back catalog. In terms of signing up for Patreon, the day that you sign up is the day you start getting access to content. So if you sign up today, you will get all of this month's benefits. So if you sign up today, you get all of the videos for this month. You get all of the past videos. You get, Discord and FetLife as soon as they get your username information. that is sort of how I have mine set up. I know some people, all pledges start on the first of the next month. I have it start instantaneously, so the moment you sign up, you can start getting content. Um, After Dungeon Gossip ASMR, oh my god. I have on Mr. Text about that. Sir? 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 Sir?
What's up, dude?
I have a very important idea I need to share with you. Somebody said I should do Dungeon Gossip ASMR.
Just gossiping about dungeons?
I guess. It said after Dungeon Gossip ASMR.
Oh. Like after we go to a dungeon, you give them the hot tea?
Yeah.
I love it.
Hot tea.
Hot tea.
Hot tea.
The food's a little bit delayed. It'll eventually be here. Your smoothie will arrive.
Smoothie.
Yeah.
So that's an idea that I had. I just want to share that with you because
Nice.
I thought you would like it.
It's a good idea.
You can do the dungeon. Maybe, you know what we should do for April Fools?
What should we do for good old...
We should do an ASMR of you talking about food. Like you used to do on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was like an ongoing thing.
Well, I do love food.
Talk about...
It's true.
What was it? It was always like chicken sandwiches or something, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, chicken sandwiches.
There's Chick-fil-A's here now.
Let me tell you, yeah. God, I do like Chick-fil-A, but at the same time...
They're morally interesting. Yeah.
Anyways.
Everything has drama attached to it.
True.
So let me get a link to the Teespring so you guys can look at that. Sorry, I just wanted to
Okay.
thank you.
Of course.
But if you are not me, unfortunately YouTube is done and does not let you share links. So I will pop that. I ship worldwide. That is a thing. Or it's not me personally. Teespring handles all that, but they do have international shipping. I will put a link. So if anybody is watching this in the future, there is a link that is now going in the chat. So if you do a mukbang, I will cry of happiness. Okay, I will do a mukbang. But what food will I do? Because I eat weird food. I have weird dietary habits. So, does a smoothie count as a mukbang? I will do it. I need to know what specifically to do with it. Morally conflicted Chick-fil-A menu reading ASMR. I think that will be the peak of my YouTube experience. Maybe different textures. I mean, like, now I'm just thinking of doing a wet and messy ASMR where I just get bowls of different things and just, like, stroke them and, like, squish the different things. I don't know if that would be too weird or not. Maybe that'd be a good Halloween one. I do, like, I've made this reference so many times, but this is because this is a really prominent, like, Halloween memory for me, is, like, the black bags, like, this was the dad joke Halloween activity where the dads or whoever would get a bowl of like random things and they'd be like, this is a bowl full of spiders, this is worm guts, and they'd have you stick your hand in the black bag. You'd be like, ew, oh my god, it's worm guts. That used to freak me out so badly. Like, I'd be like, oh my god, they've literally put worm guts in there, because I didn't trust anybody. I was like, they absolutely would have put worm guts in there. So I feel like I could do something that's not that creepy, but is still is weird textures, just like the bunny crunchy vegetables ASMR. That is hilarious. Oh my god, I could do. That's a great idea. I want to do it. I want to do the Shiba eating popcorn mukbang thing / ASMR thing, but it's me being me as a doggo. I love it. Okay, so many good ideas. Thank you guys so much for contributing. But anyways, I do have a Teespring. I want to make sure that people who are asking about that don't feel like they were overlooked. I do have a Teespring. I have tons of merch on there. That's another one of the things that I want to do with doing YouTube full time is I want to do more with Teespring. I have some designs that I'm going to get rid of, make more room in my store. I want to do more things for female dominance. I want to do things for littles. I want to do things for more kinds of pets. There are a ton of new super secret products that I have exclusive access to that are like, Teespring creator exclusive first look type things. Like, there's going to be backpacks, there's going to be play bags, there's going to be toy bags. It's going to be a thing, and I'm very excited about it. I am so excited. I'm going to make backpacks for littles and for pets, and it's going to be like, Pupper's going to doggy daycare. Here's your backpack to take your doggy daycare stuff in. Like, I'm so excited. I don't know why. I feel like that is a good idea. Do I have pins? I do not have pins. But is that because I don't want pins? It's because Teespring doesn't offer that. Please put candies and cakes and sweets and cute stuff on the little stuff. I can absolutely do that. That's a really good idea. I now have a fully imagined design in my head of exactly what I would do with that concept. I love it. Holographic? I don't know if Teespring prints metallic. So if I did metallic colors, it would probably come out as a flat print. I don't know if I have control over if it gets, because I don't know if it would turn out shiny on the fabric. So I can't guarantee it would be holographic. But I can do like pastel watercolor type things maybe. I can do stuff for middles. Nobody's expressed interest about that before, so it hasn't been on my priority list. But it can be a thing. I can do that. It can be a thing. So that's an idea that I want to do. I'm going to be doing more with Teespring. There's going to be way more designs. I'm going to be advertising it hopefully somewhere eventually. I don't know where I'm going to be advertising it, but I'm hoping I can build that up as like an alternative revenue stream to YouTube that hopefully kind of offers some more stability if there's like, bad months on Patreon, or I'm delayed in getting my money out from Patreon, because that does happen sometimes. Kind of have a little bit of another little side project going on. So that's going to be a thing. Teespring, put a pin in it. Boom. There. 90s middle stuff would be fun. Oh, you mean like the Lisa Frank type deal? Like, I could do that. I would need to be careful about it, but I could probably do that. The other thing that I want to do, so that's Teespring. We've talked about YouTube stuff. I want to go back again to more Patreon stuff really quick, because I think Teespring ideas, we could literally talk about it for forever. In terms, I desperately want any sort of Japanese sub-theme shirt. Okay, girl, I have you covered. It's rope bondage related. That's okay. But I did make an entire line of Shibari themed sub things and Japanese sub things. So let me just I'm excited you brought that up, and it was so oddly specific because that was literally an idea that I had about 6 months ago, and I made that, and I was like, yes, people. So I have a couple of different designs. I have a couple that are just text that are asking about, saying, I like being tied up, or please tie me up, but it's in Japanese. I have a couple of little cutesy ones that say, sorry, I'm tied up right now. I have ones that say rope bunny on them. I have ones that just say, like, shibari on them. The reason why I don't have one that specifically says, like, submissive on it in Japanese is I was not able to find a conclusive translation of that term as we use it in English in Japanese. So there are some things. I don't have that one. If somebody has like definitive Japanese knowledge and could tell me what the translation is for submissive in Japanese, I would put that on a t-shirt. But I didn't want to do it, and I don't want to do like the Chinese tattoo thing where it's like, this means peace and love. It really means like fried chicken. Like, I don't want to do that to people. So I tried really hard to make sure that I was offering things that were translated properly. So that's the thing. I have it. It's a whole deal. But Oh my God, so many ideas, so many things I need to talk about. Is 2 hours enough time? Oh my God. Also, if you're on Patreon, I offer discounts for my Teespring. They're always on. Depending on what tier you join, you'll get between a 5 and a 15% discount on your whole purchase for the store. So if you are on Patreon, send me a message saying you want to make an order on Teespring, and I will send you a code that you can use. So if you want to do that, if that is, if you're interested in buying that and you're a member of Patreon, if there's something that catches your eye, I'm not really able to offer higher discounts than that because otherwise I wouldn't make any profit on the items. I try to price things basically what's the minimum amount I need to break even on buying this font and the licensing for the imaging that I'm using in the design. Even if I only sell one, what's like the minimum I need to break even on that? So I try to keep the prices really, really low. So that means I can't really offer a huge discount, but it's something that even if you're not able to use a discount code or whatever, hopefully it's still affordable. That's kind of I chopped from the fried chicken. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I have fried chicken on the brain today. I don't know. I just been thinking about fried chicken, I guess. I saw a tattoo today that said "stupid foreigner" instead of "Almighty God." Oh my goodness, that's so funny. That's what I don't want to do to people. That's what I'm very afraid of. So that's this Patreon. Oh my god, I need to talk about Patreon. Patreon. Okay, so I should mention that in addition to the Discord and Life and all of that, everything that is $5 or above, you also get access to my monthly photo shoots. I currently have about a dozen exclusive photo shoots of between like 30 and 60 photos, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, for every month on Patreon. I want to do more photo shoots. I'm more committed to the idea of more videos because I personally like making those more than I like the photo shoots. But I do at least one of those a month. You get those, that you get the discounts for Teespring, and then I don't know. I just have like so much stuff on my Patreon that I sometimes forget what all of it is. Do I have a line specifically for male subs? So I don't have anything that's male sub specific. I try to keep things relatively gender neutral, except for when the terminology is like specifically female oriented. But I'm obviously looking at this with like a cis woman's perspective on like what something is androgynous to me looks like. So like specifically with pet things, I try to keep those always have some sort of gender neutral option or a masculine option. Most of my male options at this point are for dominant men. I want to do more with male submissive stuff, but otherwise I just try to keep things sort of general. But that's definitely on my to-do list. But I find that because my audience is primarily female submissives. I do have a lot of male subs that watch me, and I do have a lot of people in the Discord chat also who are male switchers or subs. So I do want to do more with that, but I haven't had that brought up as something that somebody's wanted before. So I haven't had it on my priority list, but I do want to do more with that eventually. Um, for Teespring, would you ever customize shirts like for the please return to owner and be able to put the owner's name on the back? Yes. So in terms of that, there's another thing that I offer to patrons. It's not really an exclusive thing, but if you message me and you say I'd like this design, but can it be like this special color, or can I have my a name on the back, or like something, I can do that, and I can do like a limited run print of that if that's something that you wanted to see. But like send me a message, and I can see if it's something that I could add on to the design. And yeah, I'm happy to do that. Can anyone join Discord? So anybody can join Discord if they are on my Patreon. That's the $5 and above tier. You have the option of having access to Discord. So it's anybody who is $5 and above on Patreon can join the Discord chat. Will you be making a hooded rope bunny sweatshirt? I could if somebody was interested in that. It's really hard to know exactly which items to pick because I value having a variety of designs more so than I value having one design on every single possible object. I believe I do have the rope bunny available on a crew sweatshirt. So not a hoodie, but it is a sweatshirt. Um, you need to get tank tops in your merch store at some point. I can. I have not been super happy with Teespring's designs for tank tops, like tank top options. My plan was if I was going to do tank tops, I would do like a limited run, like a month series of my existing designs available on tank tops for summertime. But that's not something I think I would really stock year round in the store unless people were like super enthusiastic about them. But there are tank top options in general. I just don't have any specifically. I think at some point I had tank top designs, but they didn't sell, so I made room for other things instead. Um, Any ideas for photo shoots you're planning to do? Yes, I want to do a wax play photo shoot. I want to do a tape bondage photo shoot with some purple bondage tape that I got in a box from Kink Crate I got a couple months ago. I want to do some stuff with this. Hopefully, if it fits enough, I'd like to do a photo shoot with this because I think it's a really interesting color, and I think it might be interesting to photograph that and see how it looks. I'd also like to do more pet play photo shoots. I also like to do travel photos. So like when I go on like kink travel, I like to do photos for that so people can kind of see like what I'm doing when I'm traveling and places I go because I think people generally speaking the feedback I've gotten is that people like seeing that. The ones that are in your store right now have no hood and they'll not be available after 2 days. I'm hoping she replace them with hooded ones. So when it says only available for 2 days, that's the print cycle. That's not only available for forever. So things on Teespring print in batches. I think there are 5-day batches. So if something is like available for 2 days, that means for that print batch. So if you order something with 3 days left to go, that's 3 days before your item shipped. If you wait until like 1 day left, your item's gonna ship the next day. But the item doesn't disappear after that. It just starts a new print cycle. And I don't want to I don't want to like diss on anybody's ideas, but it is at the end of the day my store, and I know what sells well, and I know what doesn't, and I know what people have expressed more interest in, and for the most part, I find people are much more interested in the crew sweatshirts than they are on the hooded sweatshirts. But if there is a design that you'd like to see on a specific item that's available on Teespring that I don't have, I'm happy to do a limited run version of that item for you so you can buy that specifically. But I don't have space in my store to put everything on every design that people might want. So I try to just kind of go with what I find that most people are interested in. But that is sort of how I handle things at home. Hopefully that makes sense. What else did I want to talk about? I've gotten like partway through talking about Patreon, so I want to talk about that more. But we can definitely talk about other things. I just want to make sure I have like a whole laundry list of things that I want to make sure I can talk about today. So Patreon, if you join, you get rewards the day you sign up, so you have access to them right away. You don't have to wait until the first of the month. That gets you the discount on Teespring. That gets you, depending on what tier you are at, that gets you FetLife, Discord, exclusive videos. That gets you the photo shoots. That gets you access to all of my different content that I've made. The other thing is that beyond the $5, $7, and $10 tier, there are a few more tiers beyond that. There is the $25 tier, which is the one-on-one chat tier. I currently have 2 slots open for that. And basically what that does is that allows us to have a one-on-one chat that could be Google Hangouts or Skype or Discord, either with video or just with audio. And you can ask me any questions you want. You can, within logical reason. You can ask me any questions you want. You can ask for advice. We can just talk about things. And if you want to kind of get to know me more, it's a really great way to do that. And especially if you have like sort of in-depth, more personal questions that maybe you don't feel comfortable asking on the live stream, that's a really great option. Or if you just kind of want somebody to sort of help you out with your BDSM journey, let's say, that's a good option. I also have a tier for picking a video topic. So if there's a video topic you really, really like me to cover and you don't want to wait for me to just like make it, that's another tier is picking a video subject. There is a tier that is a $40 tier that is an hour long one-on-one chat. So the $25 tier is 30 minutes a month. The hour long tier is an hour a month. And then the $50 tier, and I feel like I'm missing one. I don't even know what my own tiers are on Patreon. I'm so bad. I'm sorry, guys. And the $50 tier is the pen pal tier. So that means we can like write letters back and forth, and at minimum, I will send you like a card every month, a letter every month. Full to the brim as much as I can, just kind of letting you guys know what's going on, or talking about a specific topic that you request, or giving advice, or kind of just writing back and forth. But yeah, those are some options. I'm currently trying to get my Patreon page to load, which it's not wanting to for some reason. But anyways, that is please load Patreon so I can properly reference what I have in each one of these tiers. So there's the $25. The $35 one is a private video recording. So that entitles you to a private video every month. So if you don't want to do like the one-on-one face chat, if like talking is uncomfortable for you or you're nervous about it, but you'd have something that you really like, maybe like personal advice on, or something you really like to see, like, I don't know, maybe you'd really like to see a video of me, like, I don't know, talking about a specific subject area, or going into detail about a specific type of play, or advice for a situation. That's what that tier is good for. So that's a $35 tier. Most of these are limited, and they normally run out pretty quickly. So the $50 tier, the $40 tier are both capped right now. They're full. But the $35, the $20, and the $25 all have at least one spot available. I think there's one for the $35 and the $20, and two for the $25 tier. Part of what I'm going to be doing for when things change in February I am going to be adding extra slots to everything. So I'm going to be adding an extra pen pal spot. I'm also going to be adding an extra spot for the hour-long chats, and I'm also going to be adding 2 extra spots for the 30-minute chats. So hopefully there will be plenty of spots for anybody who wants to join, because I know sometimes people are like really wanting to join, they run out of room, which I totally understand. But also if you really want to do something and you're like, I really want this one reward, but it's like not something that is available right now, there's too many people in it, like, depending on sort of what is currently scheduled for a month, I could maybe make room for that in addition. Oh, Corgi's having a moment, so we're going to leave.
Okay, gotcha. So you do it at Jane. Gotcha. All right. It looks to be University of Miami. All right. That's true. So you have a good one. All right. And bark, bark, bark. Yeah. Yeah. See ya.
Bark, bark, bark. Bark, bark, bark.
Hi-yo. Did yours have banana?
No.
Okay, good. Mine did.
I got chocolate matcha.
Why don't you test that?
Test it.
Hi, YouTube. How's everybody doing tonight? You having a great
You
night?
didn't give me a straw, so I'm not really sure how to test this.
I'll get you a straw.
It tastes like it has peanut butter in it, which is not what I ordered.
Oh, I think this one's yours.
I like peanut butter, but not like that.
Huh.
In terms of what haven't you covered? I hope you never run out of material and retire. I mean, I feel like there's so many things. Like I'm just gonna wait until all the noises. It's okay. May I have a straw? Thank you. Uh-oh, it's overflowing. Oh, God. Ah!
Government. Oh, that's going to be great. Headphone users, you're welcome.
Is it that sensitive?
I was picking up the cord you out of town last time.
Delicious. All right. What were they doing? Unintentional ASMR. But I keep a list on my phone of all the ideas that I have for videos and things I want to talk about. And I always have like 90 ideas on there, it feels like. So I have like so much more ground I could cover. And in particular, I've been making videos for such a long time now that there's a lot of subjects I've sort of gotten more nuanced opinion about, I guess, let's say. I just have more like detailed information on that I want to remake, so that's the thing that I want to do. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna run out of ideas. At least not for the next 2 years. I feel like I have a solid 2 years left. Like, and that's just what I can think of right now. Like, who knows, like what I could be doing in the future, like other ideas that I could be having, you know. I'm so sorry for your ears. I'm not trying to be obnoxious, but it's this container is not making it easy. Have you done a video on BDSM inspired art and poetry? Do you mean like talking about like existing art and poetry that's been inspired by BDSM, like where the artists use that as like a muse? Or do you mean like BDSM artists and like performers? Or do you mean like art or poetry that I've done that's like BDSM inspired? I guess it's kind of open ended. If you run out of ideas, you can just show Morphe. Wow, the shade in that comment. But true. That's what all the other YouTubers do. Oh my gosh, another thing that I want to do. I want to do more with I want to do more with makeup stuff. I want to do more with live streams. So I guess I think I've done a good job maybe summarizing Patreon stuff. So if you guys want to see more about Patreon, if you want to help me in this journey of doing YouTube full time, Patreon is the best way to do that. So link for that is down in the description box if you want to check that out. If you have any more questions about it, please let me know. But the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to talk about live streams, which I'm going to go put this in the fridge real quick. So live streams. Let's talk about that. 1 second though, because I want to temporarily remove this. Anyways, hi, I'm back now. Also, haha, we are at 69 people watching. It's so funny. So, the last thing that I want to talk about in terms of things that might be changing or that I want to do more with, I guess, because I don't want to make it sound like, oh, things are changing. Oh my god. Um, that's not really what's going on. But I want to do more live streams beyond just what I do right now. And sorry, I'm trying to make sure that there's no like. I should see how this looks on my end. Anyways, I think everything looks fine. I wanted to make sure. Um, but live streams. I want to do more live streams, and I want to do different streams from what we do here. So I think I will probably, as far as I can tell, I don't really see any reason to change it. I'd like to keep doing the Friday night live streams. I'd like to make that a thing for sure, as long as people are still interested in watching them, of course. But I'd like to do different live streams, but I want to add this as like a Patreon thing potentially. So I'd like to do a couple of different things. I'd like to do live streams, like get ready with me live streams, like during the day. I'd like to do like day in the life of a submissive live streams, like kind of casual hangout type videos where like I'm doing like chores around the house or doing my submissive tasks or training or something, and you guys can like watch that and be a part of it and just kind of see how it goes. Like something that's kind of like relaxing to have on in the background with like some like relaxing like ASMR or like fireplace or rain noises, maybe something kind of to go with the season and the mood of like whatever's going on live stream, I guess. Is what I'd want to do. So I'm thinking things like you guys can come hang out with me when I'm like doing the laundry and wiping the floors and doing the dishes, like whatever it happens to be. You guys can kind of like see that and like be part of that experience. And the reason why I want to do that not on YouTube is because I want this to have kind of be like I don't know, like I want to be like in the life of a submissive basically. So that would probably mean doing things like how I normally do things during the weekend is like it's either I've got like rope bondage while I'm doing it, or I'm wearing like I'm chained to something, or I've got like my bondage gear on, and I want it to be something that's like it's not in a sexual way, it's not in a provocative way, it's sort of like this is what it is like to be a submissive, and you're kind of like seeing that and having that interaction kind of in that moment. But obviously, you can't do any of that on YouTube if I want to go that route. So that's going to be a thing that I want to do. Just kind of showing you guys sort of what it's like, daily life of a submissive type deal. But I'm not really a vlogger, so I don't know if I want to try doing it, but I feel like kind of doing it in like a casual live stream format, where I'm not even necessarily really interacting with the audience a whole lot. Like it would be a very different vibe from this live stream. Like it wouldn't be necessarily as like face to face as this is. It would be like um more like you guys kind of being able to sort of observe my life sort of thing, and maybe I would have stuff that I'd want to talk about while I was doing it, but I kind of want it to be again sort of more of a like relaxing, just sort of if you need company type of things. That's one idea that I have. The other idea that I have is I want to do video game live streams, and in particular right now I'm thinking of doing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Obviously the patched version, because let's not be crazy here. But I was thinking about doing that. I have a couple other games maybe I was thinking about doing, but they're not out yet, so I wouldn't be able to do them yet. So I'd like to do more with video game live streams and kind of have that be another option. Um, I just sort of more like media live streams. Like the other idea that I had um, is I really don't know how to phrase this. Um, I'd like to do like video, like movie watch along things. Where like I'm watching a movie and you guys can be watching the same movie, and we get to kind of like talk about the movie or talk about like we could watch like we could review YouTube videos together. We could do like YouTube documentaries, something where we're watching something together. I think that would be really fun too. But because none of these are necessarily YouTube friendly, as far as I can tell, for live streams, um, they would have to be something for Patreon. So currently what I have kind of set up is we're gonna have like our normal like weekly live stream, and then I'm gonna have to find like a private streaming website that's okay with like sort of not safe for work content, let's say, where I can like host private streams maybe 2 to 3 times a week where I'm doing like either video games or like the day in the life stuff, or I'm getting ready for something, or I'm doing just sort of general, like I'm, you got the movie watch along idea. So when I kind of have all that ironed out, the plan is to have basically like bonus extra live streams starting for like anybody on Patreon. Like it's not even gonna be, it's gonna be like, well, I sort of have two ways of doing this because I want to make sure. Part of the reason why I'm doing it this way is especially if I'm going to be doing anything not safe for work related, I really, really want to make sure that I am filtering out people who potentially aren't 18. And if I do it through Patreon, everybody who signs up to Patreon has to be 18 or above. So that kind of is like an automatic filter right there. So I would like this to be something where either I post streams like directly on Patreon, like whenever I go live, and like anybody who's on Patreon, no matter what tier level you're at, can go to that. Or in order to kind of prevent my Patreon feed from being nothing but links to when I am streaming live, um, I would also like to do it where maybe I just have like it's kind of the way I'm leaning more towards right now is I have a specific channel on Discord, or I have, yeah, a specific channel on Discord where I link to when I'm live on the streaming site. So you guys can go there. And it also like to come up for a schedule with this. And I have a couple of different things sort of scheduling wise that I'm trying to work out right now for when I move in, so I kind of know what time I'm able to do all of these things at. But I'm thinking if I do the live stream on Fridays, and I do, let's say I do 2 extra live streams a week, and I kind of rotate between what we're doing, either video games or day in the life, or like watching like media together or something, or like reviewing content. Basically, like let's say I watch a YouTube video and I have sort of like almost like a review of that content. Um, I'd rotate sort of between those different options, and I'd have that be twice a week. I was thinking I would probably want it to have it be during the week primarily, though I'm not necessarily opposed to doing another like weekend night, but I'm thinking of doing like maybe a daytime on Monday stream, and then like an afternoon on Wednesday type stream, or like an evening stream, like maybe if we're doing like if we're doing like a movie night watch along thing, maybe that would be on in the evenings on like Wednesday. Um, so I'm gonna kind of keep that, like that's something I need to think about more because it's really hard, like especially with them, if we're doing anything with watching media at all, it's really, really important to me that I do that in a way that's not going to jeopardize my channel or potentially get me in trouble. And I've looked into a lot of detail on different websites you can use for that, and I've contacted different companies to try and kind of understand what their position is about use of those sorts of sites. And from what I can tell right now, YouTube and Amazon Prime are like, no, we don't, allow any of our content to be shown on those websites. Netflix is okay with it. Netflix is fine with it, but other streaming services are not as okay with it. So that's all going to get worked out. Whether or not these are all just ideas. None of them are a possibility. Again, I'm really looking into making sure that everything that we do is being done, straight and narrow path. We're not going to get in trouble for doing this. So that is going to be something that I'm thinking about, but that is on the plate, basically, let's say. So then we have about 10 minutes or so left. I would love to hear your guys' feedback about these ideas. If there's anything that you would really like to see that maybe I haven't talked about yet, that you're like, oh, I really wanted you to make this kind of content, or I really like to see this. Now that I'm going to have more time to do that, I think this is the best time to think about starting to add those sorts of things into my schedule. So if you're like, I want to see more YouTube live streams, I want to see more video games, I want to see more makeup, I want to see more whatever, like, let me know what that is, and I can see if it's something that I want to do. Is there something like another creator does that you think is really interesting or fun that you'd like me to maybe think about having on my channel? Um, any sort of like, I'm trying to think more like community activities that we can do together and that we can share space with and have like, that's really what I want to do. I think sort of all of this is centered around having a community environment where we can, you know, have, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe this. Kind of like a shared community space almost, where like you guys really do have the access to see sort of like real, like daily BDSM. That's not porn, not sex, not erotica, none of that. But it's actually, this is like what life is, and having a way to connect with that. And really for me, because submission is something that is very like, can be very mentally calming, is like really important to just my general well-being. I want to make things that I think will also help people as submissives with their mental well-being. So that's kind of like with the ASMR, I want to do stuff that's like relaxing and soothing if you've had like a bad day, or you had a bad scene, or you're trying to go through aftercare and your partner's not there, like something you can go to that'll be helpful for that. Or if you're just bored during the day, or you're sick, or you just want somebody to hang out with, you have a place where you can go do that, and you have a place where the people around understand you and understand your lifestyle and are able to help you. Um, and Discord is really good for that, sort of in a general capacity. Again, everybody on Discord is really, really nice. Never had any issues with anybody. So helpful and just so thoughtful, and everybody has so many different experiences, and we have people from all over the world there too, which is also like so crazy to think about. There are people who are watching me that are from places like South Korea and Australia and New Zealand and South Africa, and like, oh, it's so crazy. Like the internet just facilitates so many crazy things. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any thoughts at this point. I've been talking for like 2 straight hours, so I'm sort of like, um, but that's life sometimes. Sometimes you just talk until you can't anymore. Um, move to. You're so full of ideas. Just don't burn yourself out. I mean, that's a good point, and thank you for the concern also. I mean, I think this will ultimately help me not burn out, because if I was going to keep doing what I'm currently doing, and also having my job, and also living away from Mr. Tex, and having to do this commute, this travel every single week, I've already been doing that for like 2 years, and the more and more that I want to do with YouTube, and also just maintaining, having 300 patrons is very different from having 30 in terms of like the maintenance of that, and maintaining kind of the level of accessibility you want to. So I'm hoping that this is a way to keep me from burning out. I'm hoping adding new things, trying new things will also kind of help with that. I don't want to overschedule myself, but I want to make sure I maintain my structure, I guess, is what I want to do. And as I said before, if you are a minor, please do not interact on my channel. That is not a bueno thing to do. I know, and like even learning from a distance involves not commenting on my things. I also I watch a lot of Twitch, and streamers can overdo it sometimes. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I mean, I'm not really super familiar with Twitch culture, but I know a lot of streamers who stream like 6 hours a day every day, which is just absolutely, that's just crazy to me. Like, I don't want to do it that much. I'm thinking if I can do it like, 1 to 2 hours, like 3 days a week. Like that would be more than enough, I think, in terms of streaming for what I want to do. So that's like, that's like 6 hours. I think that's really manageable. But all this is very flexible, I think, especially, I'm not really sure what my life is going to look like once I've done all of this because I've not had the experience of doing YouTube full time before, so there is always that possibility that I'm gonna, I don't want to get bored, I guess, or like I don't ever think I would feel bored. I don't want to feel like I'm not using my time well, I guess. I don't want to feel like I'm just wasting my time. And I do want to have time to do things like I can't, what words am I trying to say? I am I just want to make sure that I'm like, I want to have time to do relaxing things so I haven't had time to just read a book or like play a video game that wasn't directly related to something on my channel or like research or something like that. So I really do want to make sure I am having the time to kind of uh, mentally detox, I suppose, um, or like just have kind of time to relax and not have something in my life that's related to work because that's sort of where I am at right now, and I don't want that to be the only thing in my life. So yeah. Do you have a video on when to cut ties with your dominant? Also, how long should you wait after an intense DS relationship to start looking for a new dom? I think maybe the closest video I have to that, which is not very close, is I have a video on red flags. So if you're trying to figure out in terms of when to cut ties with your dominant and trying to figure out if they're like a danger situation potentially and figure out if you need to leave, that is a potential resource. But in terms of when to cut ties with your dominant, in terms of like how do you deal with doing that, I am not necessarily the best person for advice on that because I don't have a ton of experience there. Like basically my experience with that has been I realized that they weren't really committed to the relationship and they weren't making space for me in their life anymore. And I just was like, until and when you show me that I'm a priority in your life, like I can't continue devoting energy to this relationship. And I kind of just did it. But I'm also poly, so I was already in a relationship with Mr. Tex by the time that happened with my dominant. At the time before Mr. Tex was actually like officially my dominant, so I had overlap kind of already between partners, so I didn't really have a gap break where I was trying to decide like, okay, am I ready for a dominant again? Um, it's it's very personal to try and decide like because like I've had relationships where it took me months to kind of feel like I was ready to move on, and then I had relationships where I moved on in like a week, and it's really hard to tell just kind of which way you're going to go on which way you're going to end up until it actually happens. But I would say, if you had a really intense DS relationship and you're wanting to get into another like sort of high level protocol situation, I would give yourself maybe at least a month or 2 months before you considered entering into a situation like that with another dominant, because you kind of need time to undo the programming from your original dominant in terms of like reactions and terms and protocol and all of those sorts of things that can all, depending on sort of what the nature of your DS relationship was, that can take a variable amount of time to kind of resolve. And if you have done something where you've had a relationship and it's like a 3-year long relationship, I think the recovery time for that is different than like a 6-month long relationship as well. Yeah, so that's difficult. But in terms of he won't leave me, but I'm so unhappy, that one, I guess my first piece of advice is have you talk to him about the reasons why you're unhappy left. Because I find a lot of times with BDSM relationships, there are an unfortunately high number of young male dominants who are blissfully unaware of their submissives' deep unhappiness out of ignorance because they are happy. Like, I know so many people who have been like desperately unhappy with their BDSM relationships, but their dominants are perfectly happy and fine. So the submissive feels like they can't say anything because they're afraid of like rocking the boat and then also making their partner unhappy in addition to their own unhappiness. So I feel like in this situation, I would probably, if you haven't already had the conversation about telling him that you're unhappy, if you haven't had that yet, and why you're unhappy, and if there's a way you can fix that, and if there's not, then you figure out when you should leave. Because if it's just a question of like he won't leave me but I'm unhappy, like if he's happy he's not going to leave you. You have to be the one to do that action yourself, and unfortunately even as a submissive you do have to rip the band-aid off sometimes, and it sucks, but it's really up to you. Like if you're not happy and you don't see him being able to fix the problem, he might never realize that you're unhappy. And if you're waiting on him to be the one to pull the plug, you could be stuck there for forever, you know? Um, I mean, it sounds like, based on your situation, like he's not invested in you. And if he is, as you describe him, like if he's not willing to make more time for you, he's not going to magically happen. Like you need, like what I did in my past relationship is I just laid out all the cards. It was like, you're not making enough time for me. I am bending over backwards to make time for you. This is not the type of relationship that I want. And if until you decide to make time for me, the relationship is over. Like I did not give an option here. There was not negotiation. There was no, oh, I'm sorry, baby, I'll buy you an ice cream. Like I was already done at that point. Like I was done wasting time on something that was going nowhere. And that's really something I want people to remember is like, this is not the only person who's ever going to want to do BDSM with you. Like, don't waste time in relationships where you put in 110% effort and get nothing. Just don't do that to yourself. Okay, so, oh my god, we're already past 2 hours. So I think no more questions. Boom, boom, boom. In terms of the question that Shaylee asked about mental health, I'm going to put on my megaphone voice for a second. So just hold on for a second. Please read the FAQ in the description box for the live stream for frequently asked questions, because they will be helpful for you. Also, in particular, number 12, I do not give advice on waterboarding, blood play, knife play, cutting, scarification, piercings, breath play, mental illness, long distance relationships, financial domination, and fendom. I reserve the right to refuse to discuss any specific topic. But yeah, that's it. I think, maybe. I just don't feel qualified to talk about mental illness related things, so it's not like I am personally offended by the question. I just feel like if it's a mental health issue, it should be discussed with a mental health professional, which is not me, because I am not certified to give advice and I would not want to inadvertently cause somebody harm because of well intended but misinformed advice that I gave. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like that's logical. All right, all right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know it was like a lot of things all at once, a lot of things we talked about today. Um, but I will have more kind of solid information about exactly what's changing, kind of more of a structured video. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, that will be up for you guys so you guys can kind of have a nice little dedicated summary of everything we talked about here. There will be a full review of this that we talked about at the beginning. Also, no hard feelings about like asking questions that are in the FAQ. I know not everybody knows to check the live stream thing, and normally I'm a lot better about reminding people to check that first, but there was just so much to go over tonight that I wanted to make sure I could get to all of it. But in the future, just kind of know that that's there. I do have resources for those questions because that exact question does come up every single live stream without fail every single time. So I try to make sure that I sort of have that preemptively answered since we are kind of, we are out of time at this point. But yeah, reviews for this stuff coming soon. More, I am doing all of this YouTuber stuff full time is also going to be a thing. Thank you guys again for being here. There's going to be another live stream. I think somebody asked about the book club, which I don't have immediate plans for. I have potentially a book that I want to review that was supposed to be in the mail and should be maybe here tomorrow. So I'm going to check, and if that's a thing, I will set up a time for the next book club. But anyways, that is information for another day. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see y'all again very soon. Bye.